fine gal. Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. Hope you're doing well, and it's time for a review of the new Nicki Minaj album, Queen. This is the fourth full-length album from Young Money rapper Miss Nicki Minaj, and the title of this thing is no bluff, as for a good part of this decade, Nicki has been the #1 woman in rap. She has certainly earned bragging rights on that. However, Nicki's long-running career has paved the way for a new crop of female artists who are quickly closing the popularity gap in a genre of music that up until this point seemed almost like it could only platform one or two incredibly popular female artists at a time. So with that changing landscape, you would think that with this new album from Nicki, there would be some kind of pressure to kind of turn up the heat, compete at a higher level, or do something that's going to turn a new chapter in her career. But instead, Nicki pretty much delivers yet another commercial, overly focus grouped rap album that feels like it's just trying to do a little bit of something for everybody, and in the process really getting to the heart of nothing, as there are just as many highs as there are lows on this record, not to mention that there's about as much filler as a hot dog. I mean, there are some decent bangers in the track list on this thing. Hard-hitting instrumentals, great flows, cold-blooded lyricism, and a bad attitude. On tracks like these, she also shows that lyrically speaking, she has more teeth than some of her male counterparts in the mainstream too. The song Chun-Li is one of the lead singles from this album, one of my favorites from it. The song has lots of irresistible over-the-top flows, an eerie synth lead, some hard panned horn hits in both channels, some gong sounds as well. Thematically, it's a little awkward as there are a few kind of prominent Scarface references, and then there's obviously the allusions to Asian culture throughout the track, and clearly the song is titled after the Street Fighter character. The track is mostly just hard, empowering, braggadocious posturing. It's not bad for what it is, I suppose. The song Good Form brings all of that and more, with Nicki rapping even faster and sounding even more cartoonish and animated, which has continued to be one of my favorite characteristics of her rap style, that she can simultaneously pull off sounding badass but also kinda zany and out there. There are some pretty funny quotables throughout the track too, like "bitch got more coins than the game room," or "see a bitch get more press than a keypad. Before you suck me off, get a knee pad. See, I pull the strings like a teabag." Oh, that's a good one. The song Hard White is a more melodic trap banger with a lot of auto-tuned riffing on the hook, though the verses are pretty straightforward and clear. It's not reinventing the wheel, but it is one of the better tracks on here, and Nicki essentially proves that she can kind of do this style just as good as anyone else trying it out. This track also features the line "never had to strip to get the pole position," which is one of a few moments on the album that people assume is kind of like a subliminal shot at Cardi B, which is kind of an odd point to make, because while Nicki Minaj has never been a stripper, she's certainly never been above using sex to sell her music. Obviously. Another favorite for me on the album is the song Barbie Dreams, which is essentially a flip of the Notorious B.I.G.'s Just Dreams, which, if you didn't know, is a song essentially about him fantasizing having sex with all of these R&B singers and soul singers. And Nicki follows the sexual fantasy blueprint of the song, but instead she's rapping about other contemporary rappers, saying she's curving 6'9", or she's getting together with Young Thug, but then he's in her closet stealing dresses, talking about how DJ Khaled is fat, and she's not going to tolerate him not eating. She's talking about not wanting to bust it open with Eminem in the trailer park, talking about Drake crying. She even says that Designer seems like he's in special ed. The track is smart, it's funny, it's pure hip-hop, it's relentless ball-breaking, and I love it. There are some lesser bangers on the record that are kind of in your face. They're very kooky, but in terms of the writing and the hook and the lyricism are pretty forgettable. Songs like Miami and LLC. And then there are other cuts on here which I like for a lot of different reasons, but they kind of fall short due to some pretty mediocre features. Of course, I'm talking about Majesty with Eminem and Rich Sex with Lil Wayne. Eminem, of course, has to rap as fast as possible to the point where he just sounds ridiculous and constipated. His series of verses just go on way too long, which is, again, kind of disappointing because otherwise I think the track is fantastic. Meanwhile, Lil Wayne's verse just kind of leaves me worried about his well-being. He's mumbling in a way that just has me concerned. Like, very little of what he's saying on this track feels cogent. Then there's also Chun-Li featuring Sway Lee, which I also think had an incredible amount of potential, but hearing Nicki and Sway Lee go back and forth for 6 minutes straight over a super spacey trap beat, not entirely ideal, especially since Sway seems to be straining in a really ugly way in a few of his vocal parts. There are more mellow and melodic cuts on here, which honestly I just kind of find to be filler. Not because I don't think the album needed mellow cuts for a record of this length, it certainly did, but for the most part it just seems like Nicki and her features are vocally riffing on these kind of pretty and atmospheric instrumentals without much in the way of a song planned out. The song Nip Tuck, the song Sir with Future, the song I Thought I Knew You at the Weekend, the song Run and Hide as well. For the most part, it just kind of seems like Nicki and her collaborators are trying to kill 3 minutes. There are better tracks on here that take a more melodic approach, like Ganja Burns and the song Bed, both of which have a dancehall vibe to them, though that dancehall sound in both songs sounds very gentrified, commercialized, watered down. The song Come See About Me is certainly one of the better melodic cuts on here too. It's a legit piano ballad with a very pretty lead vocal melody, but Nicki singing, not that she's a bad singer, but when she goes in this direction, her songs, her style just feels so nondescript. And I don't know, just the inconsistency of entertainment value, of songwriting quality, even production quality sometimes, as a few of these tracks just seem more washed out than others. This album just ends up being an incredibly mixed bag. Like usual, I continue to enjoy Nicki's energy, personality, her lyricism when she is dropping some sharp and funny bars. I also like her technical ability. I like her raunchy, sexy lyrics. I like her themes of empowerment. However, she continues to couch all of this stuff in really generic production, weak songs, and then sometimes clips on some horrid features. Not only that, but she continues to work outside of her strengths without much regard, and it's all in a desperate attempt to try to make this album appeal to as many people as possible. I get the sentiment, I get the strategy behind that, but the end result is just an album where it feels like Nicki is just throwing random punches through the air, just hoping for a stray hit. I'm feeling a light to decent 5 on this thing. Transition, have you given this album a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like, please subscribe, and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Nicki Minaj, forever.